Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other topics, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
'Tis the season to cozy up with all your favorite holiday movies and shows.
You coming?
Where?
To the North Pole, of course.
Like A Very Jonas Christmas Movie and Home Alone on Disney+.
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so.
Then snuggle up with The Polar Express and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with Hulu on Disney+.
I think we're all in for a very big Christmas treat.
This season, there's something for everyone with Hulu on Disney+. Bundle subscription required. Terms apply. Visit disneyplus.com/Hulu for details.
This episode is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. What do you bring to a holiday party? Simple. A bottle of Casamigos. Because nothing gets the party started like a Casamigos margarita, which isn't just for summer. In fact, it's the perfect pour all year round. Casamigos is the gift that always feels right. Because anything goes with my Casamigos. Please drink responsibly. Imported by Casamigos Spirits Company, White Plains, New York. Casamigos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So then I'm doing IT, and when I go to plug the servers in, they become sentient, and they won't let us access our network unless we forward their chain emails and memes to more and more and more people, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant finds and invites best fit candidates to apply, so you can discover talent you may have missed. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
All right, happy Feast Week, Duke fans. It is episode 123 of DBR Bites, Duke Basketball Roundup. Jason Evans here with you. It is a Tuesday afternoon. I'm joined by my buddy Donald Wine. Donald, I'm at home because the entire world has come to my house for Thanksgiving. Both my sons and their fiancés are in town. One of the fiancés' parents and her brother are coming in town. I've got my sister-in-law's entire family. It is just a packed Evans household here in Atlanta. How about you? You're in Texas, right, with the family, yeah?
I am in Texas. I'm at the new house, at least for me, for my dad. My dad and my brother moved in a few months ago, so it's my first time in the new spot, new setup. Jason, you have a nice white wall behind me because there's nothing in this room yet. So we're making deal.
Yeah. Okay. So, folks, the way this episode's going to go, we got a quick potpourri of just a few small items. Stuff that's been around maybe for a couple days, stuff that maybe broke just in the past 24 hours that we're going to talk about super fast. Then we're going to get to the meat of this episode, which is going to be a preview of a big, big Thanksgiving Day game against the Arkansas Razorbacks. This is a game that will be nationally televised on CBS, and there is talk because of the football lead-in that it will have, Thanksgiving Day football, that this could be one of the highest-rated regular season college basketball games in many, many, many years. We'll get to that. But first, couple items we just want to take care of. Make sure all of you are aware of what's going on surrounding Duke athletics. The first one is this. Last week, it was announced that Nina King, the Duke athletic director, has been appointed to another 5-year term as AD. I didn't realize that athletic director had they have specific lengths of their contracts and such, but good for Nina. She's been in the job for 5 years. She gets another 5 years now. This will take her through the summer of 2031. This is, of course, Nina King, the person who hired John Shire, hired Manny Diaz. She apparently has onboarded 11 different head coaches and staffs at Duke. She has steered Duke programs to 11 different ACC titles during her tenure. She has overseen one of the best NIL programs in all of college football. Duke football is up under her watch. Duke basketball continues to be great under her watch. All the other programs are doing really well. She is the steward of a global Duke athletics brand. And Donald, I can think of no one on the planet that I would rather have as AD than Nina King. She's done a hell of a job.
Jason, I I'm not even going to apologize when I say that this is probably the easiest no-brainer of a decision that Duke has made in the last 5 years, right? Like the amount of decisions that she had to make at a very early part of her tenure, right? We had a long-time football coach that left. We had the GOAT basketball coach leave. We had a long time, one of the GOATs in women's soccer leave. We had a lot of these coaches that have been here for 20, 30 years, all take off in the span of a couple of years. And she has had to basically reshape a lot of these programs, retool a lot of them. You have softball, which is just, still in its infancy, but how well they have performed so far as a program. Baseball has resurged. There's a lot of things that have, you can really see the palpable contributions of Nina King. And on top of that, Jason, beyond Duke, right? She's been on the NCAA selection committee. She's been involved in a lot of the main reforms for the NCAA, or at least telling them what they should be doing, and the NCAA saying, yeah, thanks for your time. But at least she's been at the forefront of that change. And again, a simple decision that Duke had to do was to renew her for 5 years. I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad that she's going to remain here for a very long time.
Zero scandal, zero controversy, and lots of winning. That sounds like the formula for a really good job by your AD.
That's perfect. That's perfect. We will take that.
Exactly. Moving on to the next item on our menu of agenda, so to speak. Cameron Boozer and Caden Boozer have been signed by Jordan Brand to an NIL deal. Jordan Brand announced 4 college athletes that they are signing. They call them this year's class. It is Cam and Caden Boozer. It is Kyan Anthony, Carmelo Anthony's son, and Sarah Strong, who's a freshman basketball player at UConn and a very, very fine player. Donald, any thoughts on that? Obviously, Duke is one of the reasons Duke gets so many great players is that playing at Duke puts you in front of a lot of eyeballs and a lot of brands, and it's no surprise that Jordan Brand, one of the premier brands in basketball, has signed 2 of Duke's stars to be their latest ambassadors.
Jason, I'm just going back through my mind. I didn't hear any UNC players listed on there. That's that's been a trend lately for Jordan Brand, signing a lot of Duke players and not a lot of UNC players. But I also think, Jason, what's cool about this is it is the 2 of them, right? It's been very easy for Jordan Brand to say we want Cameron Boozer and Caden Boozer's okay, but we're fine with him, but it's not a priority. The fact that both of them got it, I think, is a tremendous accomplishment for Caden Boozer, right? For how much he has kind of made his own, kind of carved his own path in his legacy. The fact that they're still twins, but they're still in these, similar but different paths is great. And so the fact that he was recognized for his individual skill and not just because he's the twin of the guy that they really want, I think is great. If you think about it last year, like Cooper Flagg signed him with New Balance, it's not like they went and signed his brother with that, right? They didn't sign Ace Flagg, who's now at Maine. But for this one, Caden Boozer is a good enough player in his own right for Jordan Brand to want him. That's great. That's a tremendous accomplishment for both of them.
And from the standpoint of Jordan Brand, there's nothing wrong with signing a Boozer and an Anthony, 2 guys, three guys who come in with a good bit of name recognition already, thanks to Papa in both cases. When your dads are both all-stars in the NBA and play on Olympic teams and win gold medals and the such, suddenly the son is a little more recognizable. I want
and
everyone
Hall of Famers now because of the Redeem team. They were both on a Redeem team, and they are now both in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's get on. I just want to really quickly note a couple ACC results. Donald, all year we've been talking about, is the ACC coming back? Does it look like we are, really belong among the power conferences? What does this mean in terms of quality wins that you can get in the league and challenges in the league, and how many bids the ACC ends up getting? Because honestly, how many bids the ACC gets funnels directly into the pocket, into the wallet of the Duke basketball program. So I wanted to note 2 results. One is Syracuse took Houston to overtime, and Syracuse had a shot to win this in regulation. A really, really good game for the Syracuse Orange. It should be noted they're missing arguably their best player. I think their best player, Donnie Freeman. He got an injury. It appears he aggravated the same foot injury that kept him out of most of last year, the back half of last season. They say he won't miss a lot of time with this, but he's going to miss the Syracuse is playing in the players era tournament, which is a big deal. A lot of people talk about that. We're not going to get into that in full detail. A lot of really big teams collecting NIL payments for players. That's one of the things that make this players era tournament so interesting, is that players are being paid directly. And Syracuse is there. They've got another tough matchup today, but they looked very, very good playing Houston to overtime and being competitive in that game the whole time.
I would be remiss. I know you're talking about the Syracuse game, and they took them, like you said, to the brink. And for them to take arguably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country, to the brink, shows well for Syracuse, and a Syracuse team that was kind of picked to finish mid-table in the ACC. For them to be challenging these teams, that's what ACC fans should want. They should want teams like Syracuse and teams like Florida State and Miami to really be challenging the teams that they go up against. So that's great. I would be remiss if I didn't note that the Players Era festival, it's not even a tournament anymore. They're calling it a festival because there's 18 teams on the men's side.
Right.
There are 4 teams on the women's side, and Duke is one of them. Duke will be playing South Carolina on Wednesday, and then they face either UCLA or Texas on I believe on Thursday night or Friday. So there is a couple of games there for Duke to be involved. It's a 4-team, that is a 4-team bracket. So we're getting 2 games. We're facing UCLA or Texas in either the championship bracket or the consolation final. So I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm sure we'll talk more, Jason, about the expansion of the Players Era and how it might affect some of these other multi-team events that have been going on.
Yeah. Speaking of multi-team events, because the Players Era has sort of dominated the teams that want to play in those kind of tournaments, the Maui Invitational has a much weakened field this year. Usually you get, multiple top 25 teams, top 20 teams in the Maui Invitational. And this year there's just not nearly as strong a field. In fact, the top team in Maui was NC State. And NC State played their opening game yesterday against Seton Hall, and they lost. Now, Seton Hall, they're in the Big East. They're not a terrible team, but they're not supposed to be one of the better teams in the Big East. State lost this game. NC State lost this game 85-74. I forget who it was. I saw someone put out a social media post that said, Will Wade is now officially an NC State coach. I was like, oh, damn.
Been baptized.
Yeah, exactly. I watched a little bit of this. State just seemed to play really lackadaisically without much urgency. Like they were down and you just didn't sense any like, hey, guys, we got to pull it together. Just sort of like, yeah, we're still doing our thing. I don't know if maybe they got too much sun and surf down there in Maui or something like that, but this just didn't look like a State team that came to play. And if you want to know how bad that loss was, coming into that game, NC State was 19th in KenPom, top 20 team. They fell all the way to number 32. And by the way, NC State was ranked in the top 25, in the AP top 25, and they lost to an unranked team. It is the first time all year, Donald, here we are, Feast Week. For the first time all year, a ranked team lost to an unranked team. It was NC State that broke the streak. It was something like, ranked teams were something like 96-0 against unranked teams. Now, ranked teams had beaten other ranked teams, but no ranked team had lost to an unranked team until NC State did it. Ugh. Not good for the Wolfpack.
Jason, the funny thing about the Maui Invitational is they're getting a bit of a curse kind of brewing here because, you mentioned that NC State is the highest rated team entering that tournament. And, being number 24, 25 is, as you mentioned, not something that Maui is used to. They're used to top 10, top 15 matchups. Last year, the best team in the field was UConn, and UConn lost all 3 games and then just essentially quit on multi-team events. They said they're not going to do them anymore because they think they're stupid. Now, it's easy to go to Maui and get lost in why you're there. You're there to play basketball. And so hopefully these NC State's able to rebound in the next 2 games that they'll play and get some wins. Because again, there's still some decent opponents in that tournament that they can put on their resume. If they want to be a team that's going to be in the NCAA tournament, these are the type of games they need to win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And as we've said many times in this podcast, we need the other ACC teams to look good so that when we beat them, it is impressive on Duke's behalf. Okay, let's get to the main reason we're here on this edition of DBR Bites, and that is to preview the big game on Thursday on CBS TV, right after the football game, Duke versus Arkansas. Donald, I'll let you get us started. Tell me a little bit about how Arkansas has played this year and who they have played this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The Arkansas Razorbacks, of course, out of the SEC. Jason, it feels like it wasn't long ago that we were talking about playing them because it was only a couple years ago that we played them in Fayetteville, and the coach was Eric Musselman. Now is Calipari coaching the team. We have seen Calipari a ton over the last 20 years, and now entering this team is 5-1 on the season so far. Now, that 5-1 is a little loaded because, yeah, sure, they have a few decent performances, right? They beat Southern by a lot. They beat Jackson State by a lot. They beat Central Arkansas by a lot, but they lost to Michigan State, in which was a really good back and forth game back on November 8th. And then, Jason, in two games in particular, and I'm sure you'll talk about it with the metrics because their metrics kind of bounced all over the place after these two games. They beat Stanford, not Stanford, Stamford out of Birmingham, 79-75, and then they beat Winthrop 84-83 in a game where they really needed to come from behind at some point to win.
Yeah,
now,
Donald, by the way,
yeah.
Winthrop led that game by 5 points with less than 2 minutes in that contest.
Correct.
I mean, like it was
like a buzzer, not a buzzer beater, but like with 10 seconds left, they hit a shot and then had to defend a Winthrop last onslaught.
Well, and by the way, if I recall correctly, I saw the highlights of this because it was such a dramatic ending. Like Winthrop had the ball and was going to run out the clock, and then like they made a long pass that got guy turned it over. I mean, like it was super, super dramatic. But Arkansas absolutely could have lost that game to Winthrop, no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you look, it's funny. The coaches poll and the AP poll are very similar. They have the AP has Arkansas at number 22, the coaches at number 21. But when you look at the metrics that we like to do, Ken Pom has them at 38, Evan Miyakawa has them at 27, and Bart Torvik is the one who thinks that they're the better team. He has them at number 23. So as you get into the metrics, I think the one thing that we think about Arkansas all the way back to the Little Richard days, Jason, 40 minutes of hell. This team likes to run, and this could be a very fast-paced game because, like Duke, Arkansas likes to run on offense, and they like to make a team play slow on defense. That is probably going to be the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object.
Yeah, you mentioned the computer rankings for Arkansas. I want to note one other ranking, which is that Bart Torvik, if you do his unbiased rankings, take out the preseason expectation of where Arkansas should be. He's got them at number 46, just based on their results so far this year. I really think that those two games, you mentioned them, the Samford game, a 4-point win, and the Winthrop game, just a 1-point win. The metrics are like, those are bad results. And I think that's really knocking Arkansas down in some of these computer rankings. Ken Pomeroy projects, based on, again, it's his computer. It's not him personally. His computer says that Duke wins this game by 10 points, 84-74. I'll tell you that I look at that Arkansas roster. I look at the talent, the athleticism, the experience. I don't see this as a comfortable 10-point win for Duke. I really don't. Arkansas could very, very easily win this contest. This is a really good Arkansas team. They play very, very fast on offense, and this could end up being a high-scoring game as a result. They have the 15th fastest offensive pace in the country. Donald, you and I have spoken about the fact that Duke plays fast on offense but slows teams down on defense because our defense is so stifling. And Arkansas is somewhat a little bit similar to that. But this is two teams who both want to play fast, and it's very possible that as a result, we could get a score where, it's like first one to 90 wins.
Now, the other thing about this, right, is the very first game of the season, Arkansas played Southern. They had an 81 possession game. Wow. I don't care how fast you are. That is lightning fast. They have only had one game so far that was under 70 possessions. Now, we've had a couple that are in the 60s, and we've had a couple that are in the low 70s, but man, 81 possessions, like that is all-star. Like, all-star games are in like the high 80s or like low 90s.
Right.
And those games are like 165 to 153. Like this could be a very high-scoring game.
Exactly. I'll tell you one of the interesting things about Arkansas as we get into some of the advanced metrics on them and such. Despite the fact that they play at a fast pace, they don't commit many turnovers. They have the 13th best turnover percentage in the country. They mostly put the ball on the floor, get to the bucket. They're not, taking a ton of three-pointers. In fact, the average number of threes they take in a game is a little less than average. They are a good three-point shooting team, not a great, not like lights out, but a pretty good three-point shooting team, right around 36%. They do a really good job, Donald, of getting to the free throw line as a team. And man, when they get to the free throw line, they knock them down. This team is like close to 80% on their free throws. Let's keep them off the line because if they get there, they're not going to miss them. This is not a very good rebounding team, this Arkansas club. They get offensive rebounds less than 30% of their misses, which is not very impressive. They're a good defensive rebounding team. It shows you that sort of they gang rebound on defense, and on offense, they're not really trying that much to get offensive rebounds. One thing about their defense is they do allow their opponents to shoot a lot of three-pointers. You will get threes against this Arkansas defense. Like in that game against Winthrop that we were just talking about, the Winthrop Eagles took 31 three-pointers in that contest. Almost everyone they've played has taken close to 30 three-pointers. That's about where Duke wants to be, but this is not an Arkansas club that is going to get out on the perimeter and stop you from taking three-pointers. You just got to make sure you hit them. It's a big team, this Arkansas team. Not like huge, but they won't be overwhelmed by Duke's size. Most of the teams that Duke has played this year, like you look at the guards, you look at the guys on the wing, and you're like, oh, Duke is way bigger. That's not the case with Arkansas. The smallest guy on their roster is 6'3", and then after that, it's a bunch of dudes like 6'5", 6'7", 6'10". Maybe Duke's bigger in a couple positions by an inch or two, but that's not enough to make a huge, huge difference. This Arkansas club is going to be very much about the same size as Duke. And man, let me tell you, we're going to get into the players in just a second. They've got two spectacular freshmen, and they're fairly deep. They got about 8 guys that they're going to play. And other than those two freshmen, the rest of the roster, the rest of the guys who are going to play are all juniors and seniors. So it's a fairly experienced team. Donald, I'm going to get into all those players in just one moment. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a second and tell you about some very, very big names playing for the Arkansas Razorbacks against Duke. Stick around.
We're only a few weeks in, and the season is already wild. Stars are going off, freshmen are making noise, and the action doesn't stop. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is where you can get in on all of it for pro and college basketball.
Yeah, and don't forget the holiday tournaments and the Emirates NBA Cup. Big moments, big matchups, and a whole lot on the line. Don't miss out. Jump in and bet on the action today.
So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DUKEBB. That's code DUKEBB. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event is on now with awesome deals on their most popular models, including adventure-ready SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe and Santa Fe Hybrid. There's also the stylish Elantra, packed with the latest tech, or go electric with the Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Offers in January 5th, 2026.
As a contractor, I don't pay for materials I don't use. So why would I pay for stuff I don't need in my mobile plan? That's why my Biz plan from Verizon Business is so perfect. Now I can choose exactly what I want, and I only pay for what I need.
Right now, with my Biz plan, get our best price, as low as $25 a line. Visit Verizon.com/business to get started today. New lines only. Price per month with 5+ lines. Includes autopay and paper-free billing and promotional discount. Taxes, fees, economic adjustment charge. Applicable add-ons, prices, and terms apply. Guarantee applies to base monthly rate and stated discounts only. Add-on prices additional. Offers in January 5th, 2026.
This episode is brought to you by eBay. Buying parts for your car? You'll know that will it work feeling. But on eBay, buying parts is different. eBay's free returns means if it doesn't fit, or if it isn't what you expected, you just print a label, drop it off, and get your refund fast. No haggling, no stress, and at least 30 days to return any eligible item. Millions of parts, free returns. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
All right, we're back from the break, and we're going to talk about the players on the Arkansas team. You're going to hear some very familiar names here, folks. There's some guys.
Jason, before we get into the players, the full names of the players, I want to continue to overstate this because, we faced Arkansas a couple of years ago, and there's going to be a couple names on this list that you're going to be like, this guy's familiar from a couple years ago. They weren't. They were probably familiar from another team that was played. There's a couple of guys who you've seen on other teams before that have joined Arkansas over the last couple of years. There are a couple from that game in 2023, but I'm really looking forward to this because the players that we've seen are players that have been in the national picture for a very long time. Some have stuck around when they maybe could have gone pro or had chances to go pro. But yeah, you're going to see some guys, and this is a loaded lineup of guys. I'm really looking forward to this challenge.
Yeah, this just in, John Calipari gets guys who go to the NBA.
Yeah.
Let me start with two names who are brand new because they are both freshmen. But these are two guys whose names you will probably hear or at least likely to hear in the lottery next year. Darius Acuff Jr. and Malik Thomas. They have very, very real chances to both be lottery picks. Darius Acuff Jr. is the point guard. He's averaging close to 17 points per game, 4.3 assists per game, hitting almost 44% from three-point range. I mentioned, this is a big team. He's the smallest guy on the team, Darius Acuff. He's 6'3", 190. He has a very strong frame, though. It allows him to score in traffic after being bumped. He will break you down with either hand. He finds ways to finish at tough angles in the lane. Darius Acuff's one of these guys. He's like one of these classic guys where you're like, that's a difficult shot. It's not going to go in. And then suddenly he's hit it, and you're like, oh, man, that's just a high degree of difficulty shot. And this guy hits those all the time, uses the glass really well. He gets in the lane, and he causes problems for your defense. He has really good explosion off the bounce. He will yam on you in unexpected ways. There'll be times where you're like, I think I got him bottled up, and suddenly he's up, and you're staring up at a dude who's putting one down on your head. You got to be really careful about that with this guy. Really good lateral quickness. He's a pesky defender. Darius Acuff Jr. is everything you'd want in a freshman point guard. Malik Thomas. He's even bigger than Darius Acuff Jr. He's like 6'5" or 6'6", not quite as solid as Darius Acuff. He's a little bit thinner and a little bit longer. Elite shooter. That's just the bottom line of Malik Thomas. He's their leading scorer at more than 18 points per game. Currently hitting about 35% on his threes. I'm going to tell you that I think that may go up. This guy has got such a great reputation as a shooter. He is just, if you watch tape on him, he gets his shoulders square. Like, he'll catch a pass at an angle where you're like, oh, he's not in position to shoot. And suddenly he jumps and his shoulders are square. His body's in proper form and he's taking this shot. And you're just like, man, you cannot leave him any space. He gets his shot up quickly off a pass. He's a capable driver. He'll use his length to get a finish at the rim as well. He's a good passer. Like, even though he's the off guard, like Darius Acuff, he's averaging more than 4 assists per game. I mean, man, and amazingly, Malik Thomas isn't even the starter. I mean, there have been some games where he started. You may see him do that against Duke. I think probably not. He usually comes off the bench, but he still averages close to 30 minutes per game, especially in close games. Really, really good player. The reason Malik Thomas is not the starter is because John Calipari somehow turned a top 5 recruit, a guy who was once considered one of the best players in all of high school basketball, into a 3-year player. I'm talking about DJ Wagner. DJ was widely considered the best recruit in the 2023 class throughout high school. And then, like, by the time he got to his senior year, he dropped a little bit behind guys like Ron Holland, Isaiah Collier, if you remember those names. In retrospect, the class of 2023 that DJ was the king of, it was kind of a terrible class, Donald.
Yeah, but I mean, DJ Wagner has been, again, a guy we've heard since he was a freshman in high school. Like,
oh yeah, that's because he's the son of DeJuan Wagner and the grandson of Milt Wagner. He's the first ever third-generation McDonald's All-American, and I think he will eventually find his way to the NBA, maybe at the end of a bench or a two-way contract, that kind of thing. When he does, he'll be the first player ever to be a third-generation NBA player. Grandpa, Dad, and now DJ will all play in the NBA. That 2023 class is really quick. Like the two best guys in that class in terms of having an impact in the NBA are Stephon Castle and Jared McCain. There are just a lot of like high-end 5-star guys from that class who have not panned out as expected. I'm talking like Elliot Cadeau, TJ Power, Caleb Foster, Xavier Booker, Mackenzie Mbako, and DJ Wagner. These guys were all 5-star recruits, like top 15, top 10 recruits who, frankly, they're all still in college basketball, and that's just unusual to have this many 5-star guys who haven't moved on after 3 years.
Well, also in the case of DJ Wagner, he committed to Kentucky. He played that first year there and was like lost. Like they were trying to run him out of town before they were running Calipari out of town, if you remember.
Yeah.
And so when Calipari went to Arkansas, the first thing he said was, "Yo, DJ, come be my point guard." And he was glad to move to Fayetteville at that point. He had a decent year last year, but again, as you mentioned, not living up to the hype that we heard from him when he was a freshman. He was considered one of the best players in the country in high school. And I remember following throughout his career that he was always at that level, and whether people leapt past him or he kind of regressed there. That first year in Kentucky, I think did a ton of problems for his confidence, and he's starting to get that back now. But it feels like he's also kind of accepted this role as a junior of being the elder statesman, facilitating what needs to happen and letting the freshmen do their thing.
Yeah, the other thing is like last year, he started playing better when he moved from the off guard to the point guard. And this year he's moved back to the off guard position because you're not taking the ball out of Darius Acuff's hands. You're just not.
Right.
So he's back sort of on the wing. I will say this about DJ Wagner. He has really picked up his efficiency. Like one of his big problems his first couple seasons, he could barely hit 30% from 3. He was not an efficient shooter at all from 3 or from 2. And he's gotten a lot better this year. He's currently shooting 38% on his threes. And after 2 seasons of basically hitting like 45% of his 2-point field goals, he's now above 52, close to 53% on his 2-point field goals. So DJ has gotten a lot more efficient. And those are important things for getting better at being a college basketball player. His assist rate is also up. He's getting better at, finding his teammates. He's averaging 9 points per game this year and 4 assists per game. Right. That's right. By the way, they have 3 different guys averaging right around 4 assists per game. So you don't know where the passing is coming from on this Arkansas team. I mean, the 9 points per game is like the lowest scoring average of his career. I mean, he's sort of moved into a complementary role, and his usage rate is way down from his first 2 seasons. But as I said, he's being used, yes, less, but he's much more efficient. And so I think in terms of contributing to team wins, DJ Wagner is a more successful player this year. Let me get to a couple other guys in this roster because they're worth noting. The first one is Trevon Brazile. Donald, you mentioned names we recall. We should recall Trevon Brazile. He's been Arkansas's primary interior threat for several years now. He's averaging 13 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. This is a kid who's 6'10", 230, really good athlete. A nice shot blocker, blocking close to 2 shots per game. He knows how to play through contact. He knows how to draw fouls. He will go outside and take threes, not a lot, and he's mostly missed them this year, but you can't just leave Trevon Brazile alone out there. He's a good shooter, and I hope he doesn't sort of find his range in this game because he's been way under like his career averages on 3-pointers, and I don't want him to fix that against Duke. I think he's going to be a really, really interesting matchup with Cameron Boozer because he's got the size, the physical strength, and the mobility to stay with Cam the way, frankly, very, very few other players out there can. They do occasionally, by the way, move Trevon Brazile over to center and play with essentially a 4-guard lineup. You know, like if they want DJ Wagner and Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff in the game at the same time, for the most part, they move Trevon Brazile over to center because their other big man is a guy named Nick Pringle, who's also 6'10", 230, long, explosive, but he's mostly just a dunker. He's a rim runner. He's not someone who's going to, create offense for himself. He only scores about 7 points per game, that kind of thing. And then the other guy who's usually on the wing but slips down to power forward when they go with that 3-guard lineup with Wagner, Thomas, and Acuff in the game at the same time is a guy named Carter Knox. Donald, it feels like everybody in this game, we know their names. Carter Knox is another one of them because he's the brother of former Kentucky star Kevin Knox, who's been in the NBA. He was a top 10 pick in the NBA draft and has turned into an absolute journeyman. He's currently in the G League. He's been on like 7 different teams during his NBA career. It's just his NBA career has not worked out the way the family had expected or hoped. His younger brother, Carter Knox, is 6'6", 220, scores around 10 points per game, grabs about 7 rebounds per game for Arkansas. He has been a absolutely lights-out shooter for them so far this year. He's hitting 53% from 3 on the season. I mean, not high volume. It's not like he's going to go out there and shoot 6, 7, 8 shots and hit 50% of them. But Carter Knox has been really good at filling it up from the perimeter when they need him to. And he might be their best natural rebounder. He's just one of these guys who's got a great nose for the ball. He's a really good athlete. He'll get out on the break and finish with a bang. And he'll put the ball on the floor and take mid-range jumpers as well occasionally, but he's mostly scoring off passes from his teammates rather than creating offense for himself. All right, so I just gave you 6 guys on this team that you need to watch out for. It is a lot, Donald. What is your take on this game and the matchup that Duke faces in Arkansas?
Before we get to the things to watch, let's first go back to Trevon Brazile. You mentioned the fact that, I mean, I think he's a fifth-year senior for Arkansas. He's been with Arkansas the whole time, but he was on that team 2 years ago. I just want to remind people what he did against us back in 2023. He had 19 points. He had 11 rebounds. He had 2 blocks, and he went 4 for 7 from 3. I don't know. That sounds like Cam Boozer numbers. So that matchup right there, Jason, is my first thing to watch. Trevon Brazile versus our big man, namely Cameron Boozer, because I think that is going to be a matchup that CBS is going to want to highlight throughout the game. Whoever wins that matchup is really going to help their team because, especially in the case of Arkansas, as you mentioned, Trevon Brazile is really like the third scoring option. And he's kind of reduced his role in that regard while still being the best interior man that they have. So I'm looking for that matchup and really looking for fireworks in that. You mentioned the fact that these guys, for all these guys, you kind of mentioned that all of them are smart, are strong. They're tough-nosed. This is going to be one of those games, and athletic. This is going to be one of those games. Physicality is going to be a major key here, as it is when it feels like we play any SEC team. SEC teams basically say, oh, against Duke, they kind of learned from Tennessee in the NCAA tournament a few years ago. They said, just bully Duke, and you can get them out of sorts. And so far this year, those teams that have taken that playbook have kind of frustrated us at times, but we've overcome that. I think this is going to be another test of how to overcome physicality when we're playing another team. I think the last major thing, Jason, is come out shooting. Because I think what happens with Arkansas, and this happened a little bit against Michigan State, because Michigan State traditionally is not known as a team who shoots a lot of threes or makes a lot of threes. They're known as a team that's physical, gets a lot of rebounds, interior defense, that sort of thing. They hit a few shots against them early, and it rattled their Arkansas because it was not part of their game plan. If we're able to hit shots early and put Arkansas into a hole, they have to throw out some of their playbook. Their guys are going to start making some bad decision with the basketball. They are prone to turn the ball over. They've had some games where they've had 14, 15 turnovers in a game. So they're prone to rush things, especially as you mentioned, because their pace, they want to get up the floor. That sometimes does not lead to great strat selection. If we can force them into this hole where we, like, again, a decent start, doesn't have to be a great start, but a decent start where they have to figure out how to play us and not the other way around. That means we control the tempo of the game. That means we control the pace of the game. And that means we control the momentum of the game. And I think those are all big things when you're in a neutral site in Chicago. Jon Scheyer does not, again, he's bringing the smoke, but he does not want to lose in his hometown. And this is going to be the way to do it. Play Jon Scheyer basketball and let Arkansas make their own mistakes, because from there, we will be able to capitalize on it.
All right, with that, we're getting ready to wrap up here on the latest edition of DBR Bites. Again, the big game in Chicago at the United Center, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Thanksgiving night. Get done with your turkey, get a little pumpkin pie, settled in on the couch, and watch Duke play Arkansas in what's probably going to be a heck of a game and a really interesting contest. That is Donald Wine. I am Jason Evans. This is DBR Bites and the DBR Podcast. Signing off. Here's the Duke Band playing us out and taking us to the United Center for a high-profile matchup.
Gobble, gobble.